My name's Zach. I'm your cult boyfriend. This is what we're doing today. We are looking at the top 10 memorable One Tree Hill moments, a video from MsMojo. I'm really just looking for any excuse to talk about One Tree Hill again because I um I think it's my my best videos are my One Tree Hill ones. And I think I got a lot out of One Tree Hill. I went through some emotional stuff after finishing One Tree Hill up on the channel with you guys. And I think had I not watched One Tree Hill, I would have been a lot more messed up. I think One Tree Hill really helped me. And I really want to relive my One Tree Hill moment. So let's take a look at this video. Let's see if we agree with the top 10. I haven't watched it yet. So the top 10 most memorable One Tree Hill moments.
There's only one Tree Hill, and boy, do we miss it. Welcome to MsMojo, and today we'll be counting down
Like, why did you have to make a different channel just for this, Miss Mojo? Like, it's not good enough for the Watch Mojo mainline thing? Like what is
our
that?
picks for the top 10 One Tree Hill moments. Before we begin, we publish new
Oh
videos
my
every day, so be
God!
sure to subscribe for more great content. For this list, we'll be looking at some of
That's
the
a good
most
moment.
memorable moments from the iconic teen
I love Rachel, okay? I love Rachel.
drama. If you haven't caught up with all 9 seasons yet, beware
Damn,
the following spoilers.
I've been missing this show so much. So much. I had such a good time analyzing One Tree Hill.
Number 10, Lucas and Peyton's wedding.
Peyton, I've loved you since the first time I saw you.
Okay, so it's obviously number 10, so hopefully, like, better moments are on here, but their wedding's cool. Their wedding's cool. It's on my Lucas and Peyton moments, it might be number 10 on just my Lucas and Peyton moments. Every moment that Chad Michael Murray and Hillary Burton had together, every moment Lucas Scott and Peyton Sawyer had together was electric. I think the best moment of the show, personally, my favorite moment of the show is when, is when the Ravens fucking win, like, the basketball championship. And he walks up to her through that confetti and heartbeats where like Jose Gonzalez is playing, and Brooke is like, "Go to her. Go to her. It's fine." Like she lets Lucas go and Lucas goes up to Peyton and is like, "It's always been you, the one I want by my side when my dreams come true." And they kiss, and it's a moment of clarity that the character had been fighting for forever. Like that should honestly be the number one moment of One Tree Hill. I cried the happiest fucking tears of my life. But, the wedding never really did much for me. Um, I like their first meeting even with "Hands Down" by Dashboard blaring as she almost hits him. I like the "I'll be seeing you" shit. I like "Your art matters, it's what got me here."
So
The
many
wedding's
events
nice,
almost
but
got in
it's
the way of
not.
this wedding, including Lucas's wedding to another woman, which was called off at the last minute.
I'm sorry, Lucas. I can't marry you.
Upon finding out they were having a baby, but that the pregnancy might kill Peyton, they moved up the wedding. Just in time, might we add, because as soon as they got home after the reception,
That was ridiculous.
Peyton collapsed into a coma as a result of a complication.
And I'm just afraid that we're gonna lose you. And it's just
Yeah, because One Tree Hill seasons 1 through 4 was about, like, a moment of clarity, and then, One Tree Hill seasons 5 and 6 at least, were about, like living with grace, with dignity, always keeping that clarity, with you that you fought for and won in your, youth and adolescence. But this is a bit much. This part was a bit much. Memorable? I don't when I think of Lucas and Peyton, I do not think of this at all. If you want, like, a more memorable Lucas and Peyton moment from season 6, I like when she finds out he doesn't listen to The Cure, you know? And is like, "Oh my god, if The Cure could squint, it'd be you." Like, that'd be a better
just gonna be
moment.
the two of us.
Both mother and baby were fine in the end, the wedding was beautiful, and according to the other characters in the final season, Leighton lived happily ever after. Psycho Derek kidnaps Peyton.
I like this. I like this moment, actually. I know it's ridiculous too, but why I like this moment is, It works twofold. It's brilliant. Watch my season 4 analysis videos. I go into it in excruciating detail there, I would say. But just to be as brief as possible, it's not simply about Peyton overcoming um, a, a a certain intense and hyper personal kind of trauma. It's about Brooke. It's about the lengths that she would go to for the people that she cares about. Like Brooke in this episode is willing to die for Peyton. And it's the most selfless thing that Brooke could do. A character who is like of the party girl archetype, right? A character that you would assume is kind of a bit more on the selfish side. And she hadn't really been challenged too drastically in the previous seasons, and that was one of my criticisms. Here, she's not only challenged, but I think she's heroic in this episode. And it's like one of the first times that I saw Brooke in a like completely virtuous light. I was very impressed by her. Yeah, Derek's insane. I mean, his name's Psycho Derek after all, but it's a great part. And also because when Derek attacks the first time, Peyton Sawyer needs Lucas and her brother, like two grown ass, like 6 foot tall men to knock his ass out a window. This time, all she needs is herself and her best friend, Brooke.
After Peyton started posting videos online, she, no surprise there, found herself an internet stalker. Not long after, her long-lost half-brother came into her life.
Hi, I'm Derek. I guess I'm your brother.
The show was so cruel to Peyton. I think Lucas got the worst punishment out of anyone. Because like part of the show, right, is about what's this, the Sisyphean struggle of not only life but of the teenage experience, the Sisyphean struggle of it all. You have to keep pushing that boulder up the hill, even though you know you're going to be punished for it, and you have to go back down to the bottom and start to push it back up again. Do you take the non-believers? Because I'm a non-believer. Lucas and Peyton, I think, were punished more than any other character on the show, and that they were rewarded.
But because this is Tree Hill, her so-called brother was actually said stalker, an imposter who was obsessed with her because she looked like his deceased ex-girlfriend. He ended up holding her and Brooke hostage in her own home on prom night. And even though they were still fighting over Nathan and Brooke's sex tape, the girls worked together to outsmart Psycho Derek, real name Ian Banks.
Hey, it's the 8th grade cheer camp!
Like, One Tree Hill does have a reputation for going overboard. And yes, this is a situation where the show went overboard, but it pulled it off. It pulled it off magnificently. I think that One Tree Hill seasons 1 through 4 are masterpieces. And it feels like a novel, right? There's a literary kind of appeal to the text itself. You have to take it all as a beginning, a middle, and an end, and it's just a perfectly structured thing. And this, I know out of context, kind of like this, it seems a bit wild, but in the moment, it feels natural. It feels truthful.
Maybe now that he's in jail, he can deal with the demons from his past, instead of kidnapping strangers. Number 8, Brooke versus Xavier.
Fuck that. Xavier, so far as the psychos go, Psycho Derek is the one that I like. He did some very interesting things for the plot poetically. I think there was a lot of power, symbolic power to his movements in the series. Psycho Carrie, I can tolerate. I like Psycho Carrie a little, not a lot, but the other ones I don't give a fuck about. Xavier's one of them. It's stupid. It's boring. Brooke did not need to be challenged like this. It's just recycled at this point.
Xavier had us screaming at our TVs in frustration.
Have a nice night.
And he especially didn't have to come back in the final season either. Like, it was season 6, right, where he made his first appearance because he kidnapped Sam. That kind of makes sense for Brooke's character because we were focusing on the maternal, the maternal potential of her archetype as she grows into a truly mature woman, a sophisticated one at that. That was kind of necessary for that arc, but to come back in 9, there is no point.
Not only did he attack Brooke in her own store and cause the confident girl we all know and love to become broken and afraid,
Try to be a good person and bad stuff happens anyway.
I can't handle Sophia Bush crying on me right now. I didn't anticipate this.
But he also killed Quentin Fields.
Oh yeah! Fuck Xavier!
No one realized until much later that the two incidents were related. But Xavier was responsible for so much grief in Tree Hill. He even held his own brother and Brooke's foster daughter hostage. But luckily, Brooke saved the day, and viewers got the satisfaction of watching her hold him at gunpoint.
You have a nice night.
But how is this higher than Psycho Derek?
After serving time, he came back with a vengeance. But Brooke just beat him again.
Because it was a pointless return.
Number 7.
This is my number 1 moment. What's it doing at number 7? What kind of joke is this?
Lucas chooses Peyton.
I love it. Look at that. Look at that. It might be my favorite moment in television and film in media. Like, it's so powerful to me. It's like the completion. It's taking my breath away.
4 seasons of Will They Won't They led up to this moment when Lucas and Peyton finally become official. A part of Lucas had always been in love with her.
I have everything with you. I want it all.
You don't have to condense all of these other moments into one. These are all private moments. Like, these are all separate, isolated moments here. Like, I think that's what they're doing. Because this moment also...
But over the seasons, he'd also had an on and off relationship with Brooke, and dated other girls as well. After he and Brooke ended things for good, he finally realized the person...
This moment deserves to be on the top 10. It is so... It gives me chills just thinking about it. If I were to rewatch the show and we get to this part at the end of the pilot, where it's like, I'll be seeing you. I have goosebumps thinking about it. Fucking chills in the best possible way. It's Shakespearean, all right?
person he wanted by his side at the end of the day was Peyton. This is exactly what he tells her.
Lucas and Peyton, that's like my favorite love story. That's my favorite love story of all time. Actually, yeah, for sure. For sure. It's better than Pacey and Joey. It's better than Veronica and Logan. It's definitely better than Summer and Seth. Oh my God, it's better than Romeo and Juliet, for crying out loud.
Before they kiss in the middle of the basketball
Because they get to walk away. Because they experience every component of tragedy. And they get to live. Experience more tragedy.
court after winning their championship game.
It's you.
What?
When all my dreams come true, the one I want next to me. It's you. It's you, Peyton.
Number 6.
I'm gonna need a moment. Captivating. That is the most captivating moment I've ever seen. Number 6, Nanny Carrie kidnaps Jamie? I don't care.
Nanny Carrie kidnaps Jamie. After Nanny Carrie, we would think twice about letting someone else look after our kids.
I wish you were my little boy. I always will.
Not only did Carrie express obvious feelings for Nathan,
And Nathan should have fired her immediately.
but she also became obsessed with Jamie, to the point that she kidnapped him during a wedding and tried to dye his hair.
I'm gonna be your mama now.
Tried to dye his hair. As if those were equal.
Almost got away with it too, but Dan of all people caught her red-handed.
I killed my brother in cold blood.
If you don't know, my 3 favorite characters on One Tree Hill are Lucas, Peyton, and Dan fucking Scott. Dan was incredible. I loved exploring those 3 characters so much.
I'd have no problem killing you.
She later gets revenge by kidnapping Dan.
Which was idiotic, okay?
This time her plans were foiled by
Oh my
Jamie,
God,
Haley,
Dan.
Deb, and a bottle of wine.
I guess there's more than one crazy nanny in this town.
We
Oh,
almost
no.
feel bad for her. Almost. Number 5, series finale.
The series finale was good. I remember if you watch the videos, like season 7, I there were still interesting things to do because I believe that the showrunner was confessing some things through Rachel Katina and Dan Scott's arc in the first half of the show, and then it turned to trash in the second half of season 7. Season 8, I hated. Season 9 started off in the same terrible way as season 8, but by the final 3 episodes, like once they get past the insane storyline of Nathan being kidnapped by like Russian mobsters or some shit. Once we get to Dan in the hospital, the final 3 episodes are beautiful. Like effortlessly, One Tree Hill was able to redirect its focus onto clarity, onto sincerity, onto those meaningful moments that have impacted us so much. And by the season finale, or the series finale, mind you, uh, yeah, I was crying through it. The series finale is really, really, really well done. Really well done.
Fans were obviously sad to see the show go, but at least the drama, which lasted 9 seasons, got a well-deserved send-off.
Can you really choose the series finale as an entire moment, though? No, you can't. That's not a moment. You're choosing like a 90-minute moment?
There's only one Tree Hill, Jamie Scott. And it's your home.
If we're choosing this moment right here where they make the callback from the first season when Karen says that to Luke, and then they bring it back for Haley and Jamie, I would agree. That is a great moment. That is a full circle moment that I think is beautiful.
Gavin DeGraw performs at Trick's 10th anniversary.
This is the moment I like when they
prompting
do the
characters to sing
sing-along.
along to their own theme song.
But
Once again, we
it
saw the
urges
series
the
jump
audience
ahead
to
in the
sing along
future.
too. Like that's the beautiful part. It urges the audience to sing along too. That's the part that's brilliant about it. Not the fact that the characters sing along to their own theme song. They've kind of done that before. Like that's the at least the second, or that's the third time I think Gavin DeGraw played the theme song on the show as Gavin DeGraw. So like what the part that's beautiful is that we are the audience with the characters, and we can sing along to the entire final chorus. It's such a beautiful moment. That's a beautiful moment, yeah.
This time by 5 years,
And at
and
this
all of our
point in the show, when they're all like meeting up for the basketball game, they're actually playing the song "One Tree Hill" by U2 that this series was named after, and it makes me like the song so much more. It makes a lot more sense to me now. There's a lot more emotion attached to it.
favorites were happy and headed off together to Jamie's basketball game, where he's shown to be an even better player than Nathan or Lucas. Basketball was what brought the characters together in the first place, and it was nice to know it would keep them together through adulthood. Number 4, Nathan and Lucas
Oh, okay, so it is in it. Yeah, this is a great fucking moment.
play each other for the first time. Despite all the drama, at its core, this was a show about basketball. And one thing that
Was it? Was it? There wasn't even a basketball in the second season. I wouldn't call it a show about basketball necessarily. Basketball is a metaphorical tool in the show for the endless competition of youth, of love, of rivalry, of brotherhood, and of family.
estranged half-brothers Nathan and Lucas had in common was that they were both really good at it.
Hey, Lucas plays.
Lucas? Oh, Dan's other son.
However, Nathan was a star player on the high school team, and Lucas played on the town's tiny court with his friends. At the end of the pilot episode, the boys play each other to decide whether
Dude, Chad Michael Murray was fucking hungry in the first 4 seasons of the show. Like he was trying. Look at that determination right there. Look at that. He was a great actor.
Lucas will join the school team since they're in need of new players.
If I win, you crawl back in your little hole and you remember your place in all this.
Lucas wins, and it sparks the beginning of a great rivalry first, an equally great friendship later on, and eventually brotherhood.
No, it's the "I'll be seeing you" to Peyton that makes that moment perfect. What? If he didn't say, "I'll be seeing you to Peyton after that game," I wouldn't call it a remarkable moment otherwise.
Let's do this, little brother.
Number 3, the limo goes over the bridge.
I mean, it is memorable.
One Tree Hill is a show that proves time and time again how good it is at creating epic cliffhangers. This one in particular involved a drunken Rachel and Nathan's uncle Cooper crashing the limo over a bridge during Nathan and Haley's wedding. Nathan jumped in after them and never came back up.
I love you.
So fucking cool. Look, okay, this is great. This is a great moment.
The episode ended with Haley screaming for him from the bridge, with a final shot of the famous Naily
Oh,
bracelet
yeah.
floating on the water. Of course, everyone ended up surviving, though Cooper spent some time in a coma, but still, that ending was brutal.
Oh, God! Help me! Haley!
I'm telling you, they definitely considered killing Rachel in that crash. Rachel's one of the best characters, honestly. The more that I think about it, the more interested I am in like further exploring and analyzing Rachel.
Number 2, Haley gets hit by a car and Lucas's heart stops.
Yeah, it happens at the same time.
The only good thing that came from this basketball game, besides the team winning, was Lucas and Peyton getting together.
But then immediately, this shit happens. God, Brooke looks so fucking cute there.
Otherwise, the rest of the night was kind
They both do.
of crazy. It all started with Nathan making a deal with some thugs to lose the championship game.
Here's my final tip to you. Lose that game.
So when he didn't, they retaliated by running Haley over right after she told Nathan their baby is a boy.
It's a boy, Nathan. You're gonna have a son.
She and her baby were fine in the end, but her accident caused Lucas to go into cardiac arrest.
Which is good though. Like, okay. When that moment happens, you're like, what the fuck? It was so happy 5 minutes ago, but it makes sense because then he's like in the coma, right? And he sees his Uncle Keith, and we're reminded because this happens halfway through the season 4, because it feels like an ending, right? When Heartbeats is playing and Peyton and Lucas kiss at that basketball game, he chooses her, and it feels like happily ever after, but it can't be because the villain is Dan Scott, and the villain is still walking free. And Lucas's his destiny is to completely destroy the spirit, the soul of Dan Scott, of his father. No, it's Shakespearean, it's a Greek tragedy even, and it's beautiful and wonderful. But when he does have have the heart attack here, and or his heart stops beating or whatever, when he gets into the coma and speaks to Keith, Keith is like, "Come on, who shot me? Who shot me? Who shot me?" And then after that, it's Sherlock Holmes versus Professor Moriarty again. It's like the competition in season 2, but played for much higher stakes. It's winner takes all this time, and Lucas has so many victories in season 4 that like it makes me want to cry, dude. He's the best postmodern brat turned hero ever.
Further still,
And when I say postmodern brat, I mean it's a character who refuses to accept the unfair situation that he's found himself within. He wants to disrupt the social hierarchy of Tree Hill. He wants to dismantle it. And he wants to help everyone reach a new sincerity. And he wants to make sure that those who have collected an obscene, vulgar amount of power are punished and are then powerless. And that's exactly what he did.
who hit her to death, though Dan ends up taking the fall for it to protect him.
Haley needs you, Nathan. Your child needs you.
Before we unveil our number 1 pick,
Yeah, that moment. That moment. The linoleum moment. That's me inside your head.
here are a few honorable mentions.
Why are you a cheerleader? I mean, no offense or anything, but you're about
Look, if you can put the entire series finale on there, put the whole pilot on there. Almost every moment is iconic.
The least cheery person I know.
Fuck that moment. But by the end, though, like, by the end, I love Crisco.
The difference? The difference is I love you, Brooke.
Yeah,
I want to be with you, not Peyton.
Number 1. Dan kills Keith.
I mean, I guess it is the most memorable moment. But I've talked about this death and how psychotic it is. Not just on the part of like characterization, not just because Dan kills his brother. It's the idea that the episode is treated as a special episode, as a school shooting episode, as a really like real and like present problem that kids are facing. And it's presenting itself as like it's making a huge statement about that, but it's not. It's not actually doing that. It's not actually talking about weaponized teen alienation. Um, what's really happening is that they're taking something that's a very real tragedy, making it sensationalized, and using the built-in controversy of school shootings to kill off a huge character with the most eyes on it as possible, with the most attention afforded to that death. The showrunner is kind of psychotic, but what I just described, it might sound selfish, you know, but it's brilliant. It absolutely worked. Uh, Often the showrunner would try to have his cake and eat it too, and, more often than not on One Tree Hill, he did exactly that. He was a phenomenal writer, and, I think the way that he would structure not only episodes, but entire seasons upon seasons of television is genius. The showrunner's a gigantic fucking monster, a piece of shit, but, but in order to pull off something like this, that I'm describing to you, like the Dan kills Keith thing, in order to pull that off, you have to have, a few moral, uh you have to be kind of morally bankrupt in order to do that, as well as he did, which is superbly well.
The name Dan Scott is one that inspired hatred in characters and viewers alike. But he somehow also became one of TV's
One of the best characters on the show, no hatred. Paul Johansson, phenomenal actor.
most likable villains over the seasons.
Checking the yellow pages under W for whore. Wait, she's not that bright. You better check under H.
However,
Oh, Dan.
the one thing he will never be forgiven for is for killing his brother Keith in cold blood in the aftermath of the school shooting. Dan was always jealous of Keith, mainly because everyone liked him.
The thing that makes it kind of brilliant too, right, is that at that point, Dan is like a powerful public figure in One Tree Hill. He's a political figure in One Tree Hill. And the thing that makes that episode kind of politically relevant, though, and not just a way to cash in on sensationalism, is the fact that yeah, it is a school shooting. It is a tragedy involving kids. And what do the powerful and wealthy people do to tragedies like those? They co-opt them. They turn them into something for them. They turn them into an arena for them to make their own power plays. And that's exactly what Dan did. You know, and that is politically confrontational and relevant. And I think it goes beyond the sensationalist themes I was talking about. Like that's saying something very, very intriguing and I think grappling too.
Better.
And people were drawn to Keith, and I hated him for it.
Even his own son looked to Keith as a father figure. So Dan was a piece of work.
Keith was Luke's father.
But
Like for real, right? Oh, I guess I don't mean for real, not biologically, but I don't think that biology necessarily makes you someone's father. I think that One Tree Hill made that point.
let's be honest. Who didn't shed some tears when Keith welcomed Dan with open arms to the afterlife after the younger Scott dies in one of the series' last episodes?
Come on, little brother. Take a walk with me.
Good moment.
Do you agree with our picks?
Um, I feel like my list would be totally different. I think my list would be comprised of like the smaller moments, right? Uh the most memorable doesn't necessarily mean like the most explosive. Not necessarily. I think that I don't know. I think of the smaller moments. Like, if I think of that school shooting episode, I don't think of Dan killing Keith. I think of Lucas and Peyton in the library, and Peyton's wounded and says, "You're always saving me. Someone has to." I think of the smaller moments, because I think that those have the biggest impact. One of the moments I can never get out of my head is simply um, is without, like, sound, honestly. It's when Lucas finds out who Abby is from that school shooting episode because she saw Dan kill Scott. And there's something about the way that the shot is composed, and Lucas has that grin on his face. I used it for the thumbnail in my season 4 part 2 video analysis when he realizes who she is, and I think Dan realizes it at the same time, and you're like, "Oh, fuck, the game's afoot." Like, I think of small moments like those. I don't think of the large ones. Um, I think the smaller, more intimate moment. I don't mind the list, you know, it definitely is a list full of the most, like, emphatic, most over the top moments that the show had to offer, but, I think that kind of, like, minimizes the show to a certain extent because when I think of it, I think of those moments, those small ones, those gestures of kindness or cruelty. I think of those small moments that seem so poetic and so large in scope. That, the over-the-top stuff that this video covered, seems small in comparison. One Tree Hill is, one of my favorite shows of all time. There is so much to talk about and to explore, and as opposed to top 10 memorable One Tree Hill moments, I think even if you did top 50 memorable One Tree Hill moments, you'd be leaving out some crucial ones. It was that good of a show. So, I mean, I didn't hate this. I didn't hate this at all. This was fine. This was fine, and it let me talk about One Tree Hill for, like, a pretty long time, so thank you all for watching me. I've been your cult boyfriend. In the comments, what are your moments? What moments do you like? I don't know. Is that what people ask? I think it is. I think it is.